After having a nice breakout, we are going to look today for a potential turn down points on the Bitcoin. Good morning traders, welcome back to the channel and we are back with Bitcoin. So straight to the point, to not waste any time, let's get back to this point here. So after touching this 40k zone, after of course having the magnificent downward movement, which we also called, if you have been following us, we had a nice breakdown attempt, touched this 100 EMA, but although we thought that we will see of course the retest, but retest turned into breakout, of course resulting in a nice short squeeze. And you can see further on we have been short squeezing basically into this zone, which we also have been mentioning multiple times in our channels as well. So now let's go and look on the heat map of the Binance as well. And what catching our attention here is basically this small zone here, which is $39,300, where the majority of liquidity is lying currently. And as you can see on the upper zones, we don't have no more liquidity lying on the upper zones. So if we see any breakout attempts from the 44k zone, so this zone here, then this will be most likely a short squeeze. Or if we see any movement outside this 44,500, then we might see further movement to upper zones and even touching the 50k zone. But we're not looking currently at this kind of scenario. And of course, so getting back here, this zone represents this zone here, which was the last touching zone for the Bitcoin, of course. So as of now, we might see some kind of movement as we have driven here, like this kind of movement here, but eventually we are going to look for another retest to this zone and potential breakdown, of course. Retest, breakdown, retest, and further movement to the lower zones. Of course, breaking this liquidity zone near 39k. So now going on a bigger time frame, meaning 6 months, so the span of 6 months total here. Let's load and we can see clearly this zone here, which is major point of interest for us and has been for the basically, I don't know, 3 weeks, I think. So this 49k zone, where we can see that liquidity is $8.25 billion. So this zone here, basically. Upon breaking this zone, we will see most likely further movement to the lower zones, of course, filling those fair value gap zones, and of course, potentially moving to this liquidity zone, which is basically 26k. But this is long term. And of course, if we see any kind of breakdown from this zone here, and if bears will secure this zone, as of now, the game plan is very simple. So we looked at the liquidity heat map. We can see clearly that major liquidity zones are near this zone and this zone here as well. And as of now, the strongest resistance line is this zone here, which is basically 45k zone. Upon breaking this resistance line, we will see most likely a movement to the upper zones, meaning breaching this zone. And if this zone will be breached, then we will see most likely new all-time high, which is kind of odd and kind of strange as we are still in pre-halving sessions. But nevertheless, this is not the game plan that we want to see, and the game plan we want to see is very easy. So we hover for some time basically here, potentially of course slowly moving to the lower side here. And once we are, wait, let me put it in white, and this one, let me remove it. And once we see a nice movement to this zone, we want to see a breakdown, a retest, and then movement to the lower side, breaking this major liquidity zone on a weekly time span, and moving of course to this. Oh my god, this was very nasty one. So this and this one, boom. So nevertheless, as we are having some kind of liquidity movement as of now, we don't see any further growth to happen on the Bitcoin, and we still want to see this zone to be touched. This is basically very natural moment for the Bitcoin, as we had a massive dump happening after the ETF news. So let me calculate the percentage. It was 21% of dump, which is massive, as we had huge news. And as all you know, Grayscale has been slowly dumping their assets, 8k a day, 10k a day, and so on. And as many of you know, they have like 500,000 of Bitcoins more left to potentially dump, and they can do it easily. So we gotta be prepared for anything. And this is it for today. As always, thank you for watching this video, and trade smart, trade safe, and see you in the next session.